hate farmers already dug a grave for this game months ago, barfing out the usual anti-woke and DEI ruins everything nonsense before it's even released. And now that it's out, the reviews and comment sections are full on turf war. Some folks genuinely enjoy it, others want it burnt at the stake. And yeah, I might lose a couple of followers saying this, but I'm just so tired of this empty hate and all the rage for profit. Fortunately, there are still plenty of honest reviewers who aren't farming outrage clicks, and I more than love that. But this video isn't about either camp. This is simply my honest opinion based entirely on my time with the game, how it felt, what stuck with me and what didn't. I've been always fascinated by Gothic settings. Decay, folklore, ghosts that aren't just scary, but symbolic. And Southern Gothic is one flavor of that I keep coming back to. There is something about crumbling porches, overgrown cemeteries, and folk tales soaked with cheap booze and regret, whispered through generations. Something that feels steeped in American sorrow, like it's been slow cooked alongside some jambalaya and bad decisions. And no, I'm not from the South, or even from US, but that weight of memory, that slow burn dread, still hits hard. And I went into South of Midnight expecting spooky folklore, decent plot and some cool monsters, but I stayed for the music, the mood, the soul-tearing stories, and the giant catfish talking nonsense. The music especially, and we'll get to it later, but it's one of the best things in the whole game. Meet Hazel Flood, a teenage track star at the center of this third-person narrative-driven action-adventure game. Her life in the town of Prospero, deep in the American South, gets torn apart, literally, when a hurricane rips through her home and takes her mother with it. And while on a rescue mission, Hazel discovers she is a weaver, someone who can see the grand tapestry that holds reality together. She can weave, repair, and unravel the knots in the fabric of the world itself, easing the suffering as she goes. This newfound power pulls her into shadowy, southern Gothic realm, where creatures from whispered legends walk the swamps. Hazel unravels the tangled threads of her family's past and the community's buried wounds. Each encounter challenges her to heal what's broken in the land, and maybe to understand her mother and mend their strange relationship along the way. In South of Midnight, story and truth swirl together like a fine chowder of grief, ghosts, and stubborn hope, all stirred through the same pot. It's messy, heartfelt, and full of flavor. The game leans hard into story, with exploration, light platforming, basic puzzles, and melee combat sprinkled throughout. It's not deep and not trying to be the next big action adventure, but for a slow, moody, emotionally heavy game, it works. Hazel's traversal abilities include standard moves like jumping, double jumping, dashing, and gliding, helping you navigate through game's richly designed environments. While nothing here reinvents the platformer, it's solidly done. The movement feels good, the sections are clear, and for someone like me who's usually not a fan of jump-heavy games, it hits the right level of chill. Combat in South of Midnight is all melee, centered around fighting off bizarre creatures called Hanes in small arena-style encounters. It's not totally frictionless, but nothing that got in the way. And it's fun, at first. Each enemy has a distinct fighting style, which gives the illusion of variety. But by the late game, the fights start to feel little samey, more like maintenance than momentum. That repetition bleeds into the game's overall rhythm too. The core loop settles in pretty quickly. Hazel shows up somewhere new, digs into the local story by smashing a few stigmas, collects pain in bottle. Yeah, really. After filling it with sorrows, there is always a simple and straightforward chase sequence, and then a boss fight waiting at the end. It's thematically consistent, sure, but close to the end game it starts to feel a bit repetitive and boring, like you're playing a cleanup crew for someone else's trauma. The emotional stakes stayed high. The gameplay stakes, well, not so much. Thankfully, the boss fights shake things up a bit. There are 4 of them and each one feels like a genuine setup. Not exactly tactical masterpieces, but tighter, less button mashy and a bit more focused. There is also a leveling system, technically. But don't expect anything deep. You spend in-game currency to unlock upgrades, new melee attacks, buffs, and a few spell enhancements. Overall, the gameplay is fine, just fine. I would like more variety in the combat, maybe some bigger arenas and more surprises. The environmental puzzles could have used a bit more bite too. But honestly, for a narrative-driven game like this, especially one steeped in mood and metaphor, it works. Well, at least for me. I've played enough walking simulators lately to know when something hits the sweet spot between interaction, plot, and atmosphere. If you're looking for deep mechanics or complex systems, well, you'll probably bounce off it. I really loved how this game looks. Every location has its own atmosphere, a different color palette, different mood, and always just enough swamp critters or forest ambience to make it feel alive. There is movement and noise in every frame. Birds flapping, foxes skulking, raccoons rustling through bushes, and possums doing their possum things. Or the occasional gator just hanging out like it owns the place. The art style is stylized and cartoonish, kind of like the Spider-Verse games, but with a moody Southern Gothic twist. It's bold, colorful, and mighty surreal. That cartoonish look might not be for everyone, whoa, but I really enjoyed it. After a streak of hyper-realistic games trying way too hard to look like fine cinema, this felt like a much-needed change of pace. The game also adds a stop-motion effect, an interesting idea but felt laggy and jittery to me. I turned it off immediately. Sound design is just perfect and truly complements the carefully crafted locations. This is one of those games you want to play with headphones or good speaker setup. The world feels alive, like it's constantly breathing around you. But what really elevated the whole experience for me was the music. Olivier de Riviere's soundtrack isn't just background, it's part of a storytelling. You get this bluesy, southern folk vibe with haunting vocals and raw guitar strumming. If you're watching this with headphones, you're probably hearing that strumming underneath my voice right now. But here's some beautiful tunes.
He was my brother, Benji his name. He saw things different, he was my shame. And I said goodbye, I said farewell. I took my hammer, my ticket to hell.
Anger clouds roll on the far horizon, sick green sky and tornadoes flying. How much longer until the river's rising? Birds fall silent and the critters are hiding when mucky swamps and dusty lands colliding. Blood stirs up what's long forgotten, twisted things and lonesome dreams.
And it's not just emotional filler, it's woven into the structure of the game. Sometimes the vocal whisper a boss's name, and when you're unraveling a stigma and diving deeper into someone's pain, the lyrics start telling you what happened, almost like a ghost singing the story straight into your ears. And yeah, this soundtrack will haunt me for a long time. The themes in South of Midnight aren't subtle, but they're honest. It's a game about grief, memory, and how pain echoes across generations. I expected heavy stuff, but I didn't expect it to hit so personally or feel this grounded under all the magic and folklore. Hazel's journey isn't just about stitching together a broken world, it's about confronting the pain no one else will. And the game draws a powerful parallel to her mother's job as social worker. You're not just beating monsters, you're doing emotional cleanup, helping people carry what they can't carry alone. It's an unexpected and understated tribute to those who help others when no one else will. The characters, even Hazel, aren't perfect. Most are wounded, guarded, or dragging something heavy behind them. Everyone's got a sad story to tell, but some folks are just awful, mean, selfish, or straight up monstrous. And even when you know the trauma made them this way, hey, it doesn't excuse it. This world might look stylized and colorful, but the tone underneath is anything but light. Which is why Crouton, Hazel's animated doll companion, works so well. Hey, he doesn't speak, he doesn't explain himself, he just runs around vibing like he's having the time of his life. In a game filled with sorrow, regret, and soul-eating monsters, Crouton is this deranged little bright spot. It's like the game is reminding you that there's still space for joy, however weird the joy looks. For me, South of Midnight was carried by its themes of suffering, memory, healing, and redemption. The story felt fresh, the characters stuck with me, and even when gameplay dragged, I was invested enough to push through. Sure, the combat is a little thin, and the repetition wears on you, but it's never fully undermined the experience. The visuals are gorgeous, the atmosphere is spot on, and the music makes it unforgettable. It elevates the entire game into a top-tier emotional ride. It's not perfect, but it stayed with me, and I think that that counts for a lot. And I don't usually slap scores on things, but I'd call this fair 7 out of 10 and a personal 8 out of 10 because the mood and message hit so hard. At 40 USD, I think that's a good value for what you're getting. It's around 10 to 12 hours long, depending on how thorough you are. And if you're on a Game Pass, hey, it's an easy yes. So if you're in the mood for a beautifully crafted Southern Gothic emotional chowder with folk tales, grief, gorgeous art, and a chaotic little doll named Crouton dancing through the gloom, go try South at Midnight. You won't regret it. Cheers and have a good one.